Kids aren't cars. Reform-minded leaders in Indiana realize education should not be one size fits all. They're moving forward to tear down dropout factories and improve education for children. Dr. Tony Bennett is the Superintendent of Public Instruction.
2011 could be the year of the child, the year of the student and parent in Indiana. It will take courage. The naysayers, the defenders of the status quo, the special interests, they will be there to fight us every step of the way. And our job is to make sure that we have an army is big, an army is strong, an army is loud to say we are for Indiana's children and that Indiana's adults must respond accordingly.
State leaders are looking to fix a broken education system.
We will be looking at reforming collective bargaining, limiting collective bargaining in the state of Indiana to wages and wage-related fringe benefits, being able to evaluate teachers annually, being able to use performance-based indicators on teacher evaluations, changing teacher due process so that it mirrors what we currently have for school administrators in the state, and hopefully moving to a situation where we help teachers earn tenure and those teachers who don't continue to deserve tenure to, if you will, unearned tenure. So we have to provide regulatory relief, reporting relief, so that schools can focus their efforts on meeting the needs of children and not really just satisfying what I would refer to as frivolous wants of the federal government and frivolous wants of state government. Let's focus on helping schools meet the needs of children. If we don't do this now, we are likely to go through another generation of children who will continue to be in a mediocre system.
Dr. Bennett says if you need proof the system is broken, look at how some Indiana school districts determine which teacher gets tenure.
And we were talking about how seniority is broken in some districts by adding up the last 4 digits of a Social Security number. And a teacher raised her hand and said, that's the only fair way to do it. And my question for her is, who is that fair to? Is that fair to the child who may get an inferior teacher because that teacher has a higher sum of his or her last 4 digits of her Social Security number than another teacher? It's imperative that our teachers our students have the best teachers in the state, and we shouldn't use antiquated rules that frankly are outdated.
And there won't be any additional money in 2011 for Indiana to overhaul its education system.
Our governor, Mitch Daniels, just announced in the last month that education funding in 2011 would stay flat from 2010. Now, we did incur a cut in 2010.
To make sure the state's dollars are working to give students the best education possible, Dr. Bennett says accountability is needed.
And in an era of accountability, teachers shouldn't have to worry that principals are going to get rid of good teachers or experienced teachers, because in an era of accountability, it would be ignorant for any principal to get rid of a good teacher.
With accountability, Dr. Bennett says there has to be a way to honor good, effective teachers.
We think the time is right to recognize and reward the most noble profession on earth. And we have to understand Indiana has some great teachers, and I think it's an injustice those great teachers don't make what they're worth. And we have to set up a system that recognizes and rewards greatness, that remediates those who need help, and removes those who aren't fit to be in front of Indiana's children. These are not radical changes. These are common sense changes that say that schools should be in charge and they should be held accountable for the education of children, and that parents and children should have the opportunities to pursue rigorous, challenging, motivating, stimulating opportunities for their kids. So these aren't radical changes. These are common sense changes that, frankly, we have been averse to in education for many years.
Dr. Bennett says today's education system does not stand up to the demands of the 21st century.
We have a system of education that has not changed in probably 70 to 100 years. Yet our society and our economies have changed drastically during that same period of time. The time is now to afford education the opportunity to meet the needs of children as our economy and as society changes.
But he believes Indiana must make a move now. Dr. Bennett says he's hopeful that what needs to be fixed in education in Indiana will get done. He one day hopes to hear
Indiana passed the most intense, comprehensive education reform legislation in the United States to go along with the efforts of our state board to improve school accountability through an A through F grading system, to accompany a growth model that is second to none across the nation, to accompany revamped teacher licensing. Frankly, we think we're best positioned in the United States to deliver a system of education where we begin to demand more for our money, where we deliver more goods to children, and where we prepare more children to be college and career ready than any state in the country.
This is one of 9 films in the Kids Aren't Cars series. To see them all, go to kidsaren'tcars.com.